Meadow Creek Speedway, a short track, a fantasy track yet again here tonight. This is going to be interesting to see how this is going to play out. We will be starting at the back of the pack. No practice, no qualifying. Going to make this very difficult on ourselves. We're very good on short tracks, but I think honestly that this is probably the toughest short track on this game. And we did win the Truck Series race here, so hopefully we can win the Busch race as well. Obviously driving as Clint Boyer. Finally have the points lead for the first time this season following our win in the last race, which took place last night, also on a short track at the Dodge Raceway. Dominated that race. We led 296 of 300 laps. Technically, we did lead all 300, but the game glitch said that we only led 296. I went wire to wire. I started in the pole. I led every lap. And hopefully we can at least go back to victory lane again here today and make it back-to-back wins. Trying to go for win number 10, trying to extend the points lead. It's just a mere 9 points coming into this one. So although it's our first points lead of the season, it is still very narrow over that of Tony Stewart, who is still looking for his first win of the season. 250 laps is our scheduled distance here tonight. We had a few cautions in the race here with the Truck Series, so I'd assume we'll have some cautions tonight as well. Green flag is in the air, and we are racing. And Greg Biffle on the pole at the very front of the field. 43 cars. Most of them 2x2, obviously, on this initial start. So I'm just really trying to get a feel for this car in the early laps. Clean passes here, so tough. Exhibit A. This has to be the tightest short track on this game. I think that's part of what makes it so tough. The corners are so sharp. It's only a half mile, but there's 3 separate turns, so the straightaways are so short too. Big drive to the inside, got a little loose. I do feel like this car is a little too free. I might get used to driving it when you get me more laps, but only 4 laps in, it does feel a little too free. I scraped the inside wall in turn 1 because I feel like it turns too easy. And you want to get as close to the wall as possible. It's the best chance to try to make a pass. You have to create your own room. Contact with the 152, clip the inside wall into turn 3. Dang. I didn't think I was going to have to lift there to keep it off of him. I guess that would have been the case. At least it would have helped. Stephen Hooten, Wade, thanks for tuning in. Biffle's led every lap so far, by the way, at the front of the field. 9 laps. Clint Boyer's driven up to 34th from last place starting position in 43rd. Just ran his fastest lap. Just buried so deep in traffic. Contact pass made for 32nd. And now a drive underneath J.J. Ailey. And contact well before getting into turn 1. Stayed in front of Ailey. J.J. stuck on the outside of the racetrack. 116 car got back by again. See, having that track position starting at the front of the field, that's huge for these guys if I do have a really fast car like I tend to have on short tracks, because it's so hard to make passes here. Like, I'm still back in 31st. And they have no traffic in front of them at the very front of the field. So they're able to put down some really quick lap times. There we go. Clean pass, and I didn't hit the inside wall. I did get into the back of Bernie Lamar, though. Contact even with our teammate Jeff Burt. It's hard to talk, man. It is. I'm trying to focus in. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm still making contact on a pretty regular basis. Slide getting into turn 3. We had a lot of tire wear in our truck race here, if I remember correctly, as well. I've lost count of how many times I've hit the inside wall in either turn 1 or turn 3. I mean, it's got to be at least 5 or 6. We're only on lap 18. I just have a feeling, though, if I try to tighten it up, the passing's already hard enough as it is. It might be even harder if I try to put wedge into it to tighten it up. But it is pretty free, though. Making a clean pass on Harvick finally for 25th. This is another track like Dodge Raceway. You see somebody have an engine failure, it causes a major stack up. Especially depending on what part of the track they're on. There isn't a lot of apron to run off and out of the way on the racetrack, which is why things stack up in the corners so much. Although we didn't see the stack-ups happen at Dodge Raceway like we usually do with the 3 engine failures we had during green flag action yesterday. They're scrape into that inside wall. Boyer gets by Denny Hamlin. And another fantasy car for 20th. Casey Mears. Kurt Busch, who finished 4th yesterday. Now got to get passed by the 2. Boyer's starting to get in a little bit more of a rhythm here. Bo Phillips in the 191. And just ran our fastest lap, 17.273 that last lap. Turned down way too sharply. I'll contact down in the next corner, turn 1 with the 174 and the 124 in front of us. And to hit the brakes going into turn 2. Get away with just letting out of the gas in that corner. Straightaway between turns 1 and 2, a lot less than the other 2 straightaways. You can actually go full throttle sometimes depending on how much you really back turn 1 up. Which is ideally what I'm trying to do, because I feel like that's where I'm running my fastest laps. I mean, there's just so much variance in lap times, just depending on when I catch traffic. I could run a 17.2, I could run a 17.8. You know, and consider that a pretty good lap if I'm trapped behind somebody. 17.237 that last lap, fastest of the race. Pass on Danny O'Quinn Jr. Pulling clear, but a little too high. Contact with Danny O'Quinn back to the bottom again. Boyer fights his way to the inside. Caution free, lap 30 this time by. Boyer grips up under Aaron Crocker, looking to get by Paul Menard next. Gets by Menard for 11th. Greg Biffle still led every lap, but he's just got a huge line of cars behind him. He's not pulling away by any means. Up to 9th for Clint Boyer. Reed Sorensen in the top 10, just in front of him. I also see Tony Stewart just a couple cars ahead in that 33. He's just outside the top 5. Boyer gets by Sorensen. Kenny Wallace in second. Jeremy Mayfield, who finished last yesterday with an engine failure, is in third. A move to the inside through turn 3 for Boyer, looking for 7th place. And he's got it. Tony Stewart trying to get by John Andretti for 5th, and he makes the pass. Oh, big moment. Hit the inside wall, bounced up into John Andretti. Andretti definitely got the worst of it. Saw Tony Stewart making slight contact with Jeremy Mayfield when he passed him for 4th, and now he's up to 3rd. So Stewart's starting to rocket to the front of the field as he's trying to race Boyer to the lead. Mayfield to the inside of Jimmy Johnson trying to get a spot back. Boyer has to lift into turn 2 to keep it off the back of the 9, but keeps the pressure on the 48 to still get into 4th place. Tony Stewart now going for 2nd underneath Kenny Wallace. Trying to get to the lead before Boyer gets there so he can get 5 bonus points at the very least. Mayfield going to be looking for 3rd behind Wallace next as well. Boyer may have to follow him again. Too deep of a dive there for the 2. And a pass on Mayfield made for 4th. Stewart trying to get to the lead on Biffle. Big arc of the corner off there by Boyer. Looking to get under Kenny Wallace. Wallace made a little contact corner exit off turn 3 with Stewart. Four cars under a blanket at the front of the field. This time to the inside of Wallace for 3rd. Pass made, clean. I checked up way too much in turn 2. I got scared he was going to pop my right front fender. Almost did there too. Stewart with a run, looking for the lead. Under Greg Biffle. He's got it. Boyer with a run, gets to 2nd. Looking for the lead. He doesn't want Stewart to lead a lap. This is going to be close at the line. Boyer leads, barely. Stewart trapping this 2-car down on the bottom very tightly. Great corner, though, to keep it off the inside wall. And Clint Boyer leads at Meadow Creek, but he's still not clear. Into turn 3 again. Now he's clear, center off. Kenny Wallace looking to get back into 2nd. That's a solid run. Though the battle ain't done yet. Tony Stewart's doing a great job on the outside. Power move. He didn't lead the last lap. But he's going to lead that lap right there. Right when you thought the battle was done, it wasn't. Tony Stewart's doing a great job on that outside lane. Nudges that 2-car off again. I'm too loose. I can't get back into the gas as soon as I want. Another run to the bottom, and look at how low Tony Stewart runs. And Boyer's not having it. And neither is Stewart. Boyer's going to lose second. He's going to get freight train now. I can't run that outside like the 33. As I say that, though, Kenny Wallace gets by him now. Now a little contact with Jeremy Mayfield. Wrong 9 car. But look at this. I mean, how am I going to make the corner when he's running me that tight? I have to let him go. Even though I have the positioning on him. Stewart was doing the same thing, and I couldn't make the pass on him. And then when I hit him, he got mad at me and hit me again, and I got loose and lost all these spots. Contact with Biffle. Got a lot of contact the last several laps. Lap 52. I'm gonna do a ballsy strategy here. I'm gonna short pit in the hopes that we cycle all the way through. Give me fresh tires and tighten this car up. My goodness. It is just way too free for me. I don't like doing this on a short track, but desperate times call for desperate measures here. Wings game at 2. Able to see tomorrow before practice and qualifying. Maybe. It might be over before then. It's going to be close. I mean, I'm going to attempt to watch it, obviously, but yeah, it'll be really close. All right. Boyer is 2 laps down after short pitting. A little contact with John Andretti coming out of the pits, but the bulk of that traffic is in his rearview mirror. So where he cycled out of the pits, he can really take an advantage on these fresh tires. That is if they give me room. I mean, this is ridiculous that I'm getting ran like this. Move out of the way, please. All right. Made that wedge adjustment. It's still tight. Starting Monday, it's going to be called FanDuel Network. I didn't know about that. And here is a slow up. Somebody blowing an engine on the bottom of the racetrack. And Boyer jamming his way through cars. And there's that first stack up of the race. With that issue. A lot of time gained, though. Despite the contact, I don't think I hurt the car too bad. It is a short track after all. Kenny Walls is actually leading. I thought Tony Stewart was leading. But Wallace is really driving away with it. Yeah, Tony Stewart obviously hot with Clint Boyer right now. It's going to be very difficult for Boyer to make this pass cleanly. Stewart has been crowding him quite a bit. which definitely started the heatedness between these two today, and there's quite a bit of contact there. Stewart body slams him right in the middle of the corner. But the pass was made. Kenny Wallace catching the back of lap traffic. If you're just tuning in, wondering why I'm 2 laps down, definitely short pitted. This first run, I expect there to be cautions today, but I'm playing the gamble and trying to make up time on these fresh tires to break away from the field in the hopes that everything cycles through. We're getting close to getting one of our laps back on Kenny Wallace here pretty soon. Handful of cars between the 2 and the 22. Make food or order food. I guess it depends on what you're thinking. Both sides. That might be a first-time ask on the channel. We just ran our fastest lap, so I'd imagine that the setup is the way to go. I still don't think it's perfect. It's better. It's definitely better, but I think I could still tighten it a bit more without it being too snug. Kenny Wallace, 3 wide middle. Now's the chance to really get after Kenny. Still stuck on the outside. Warrior finding his way down to the bottom. But so is Wallace. Contact passing Todd Kluver now. Domino's. I mean, that's probably my preferred way to go for like the big franchise pizza chains. Sounds like a good call to me. Now we're going to be 3 wide middle here in a moment. Boyer looking low under Kenny Wallace. Oh, really overdrove it. Yeah, I saw you mention that earlier about painting. You seem like a arts and crafts kind of person. I know you've mentioned in the past about painting other stuff. A little bit of a loose moment. Driving off into turn 3. Lap 80, still in 42nd. Very few cars are one lap down with where Kenny Walsh is at in the midst of the lap traffic. We short pitted already. We were 2 down. We made up a lap on fresh tires. We pitted at about lap 51, 52, somewhere around there. So on these 50 lap pressure tires, making up ground. Bernie Lamar getting loose in the middle of the corner and make contact with us. Ugh. Big lockup of the front tires. 3 wide is tight here. 2 wide's tight enough. We were able to get 5 bonus points before I short pitted as well, just in case this doesn't work. The big hit into the wall. I got connected on Hamlin, and I was committed to just keep on driving it. Hit that inside wall in a bad spot. Well, never a good spot to hit the inside wall. Denny was just along for the ride. I can see that opening in that big pocket of basically clean air and away from any and all traffic. We're getting very close to it. Then again, with these fresher tires, it can really start to get through traffic just that much better again. We'll bump and run on Aaron Crocker. Greg Biffle, who started on the pole, going to pass him. He led a bunch of laps in the beginning of the race. Wow, 17.184 that last lap. If there's such thing as running a perfect lap at this racetrack, I think we can get down into the 16s. Cleaner traffic to move around now. Maybe we'll see if we can set that kind of a lap. 17.3. Then it just completely overdrove turn 1. Couple passes. An older version of me on TikTok. Commentating NASCAR. Is it Mike Joy? With a beard? We're definitely pushing. Hit into the wall in turn 2. Maybe this car's going to tighten up over the course of the long run a little more. Catching up to more traffic. We're almost halfway. I would imagine we're going to see drivers try to split this race in half like we did last night at Dodge Raceway. We had a caution in the middle of green flag stops earlier. A little contact getting down into turn 1. Oh, I cleared a little too far wide. Almost let him back underneath us. I think equal tires, and he does that even being wherever he's at in the running order. Just can't be at the very front of the field. We got cars pitting. Oh, man, I almost wondered if that 152 car was going to try to pit off turn 2. We got underneath. Cars pitting way early. I mean, we're not even halfway yet. Cars are already on pit road. 12, 13 laps away from the halfway mark. Ah! Same thing that happened to Denny Hamlin earlier. I hit the inside wall in turn 3. Hit the car to my outside, who earlier was Hamlin. That time was a fantasy driver. Went with him all the way into the wall. And bounced off the wall and kept going. Such a challenging racetrack, especially to get a full race in. I mean, there's a good chunk of cars that were on pit road, but there's quite a bit more that obviously still have to pit. If we cycle all the way through, we're definitely going to see Clint Boyer out in the lead. And we will go back to the far chase cam now for the rest of this race. Again, Boyer pitted at about lap 151, 152. I was expecting to see some cautions today. We just haven't seen any yet. Long line of traffic up ahead. I mean, it is a gaggle of cars. A lot of 2x2 racing. Tell you what, this car is going to be beaten, battered, and bruised. Definitely isn't a clean race car, but she's still quick. That's a great move. Up to 20th. Quite a few cars still have to hit pit road, about half the field, maybe a little more than that. A lot of drivers trying to short pit. Maybe they saw how much time I was gaining after short pitting and they figured they were going to do the same thing. Again, we really need this to cycle all the way through for this to work, but I do have to say, I mean, Boyer's made up a lot of time. I mean, he's up to 18th, but he's passing some cars for position. Kenny Wallace, we know, hasn't pit yet. He's been the leader the whole time, for instance. And we've almost gone from 2 laps down to the lead lap, as we've gone about 70 laps since our pit stop. Halfway out of gas as of right now. Yeah, I mean, I knew when I pitted we probably weren't going to make it to the end. Well, we've definitely gained a lot of time. And my hope was that we were going to get a caution at some point. We just haven't gotten it yet. Although I didn't need it when I was a lap down anyway. See, I was kind of thinking more later in the race. Big hit into the wall. Turn 1. Drive back to the inside of the 113. Try to get by him cleanly again. And we did. There we go. We'll be halfway in 2 laps. I'd imagine Biffle in 3rd here. Stewart's probably in 2nd still. Great clean pass on Biffle through turn 3. And we've got a stack up on the inside of the racetrack. Car blowing a motor. Running in the back of John Andretti. I saw the race leader right there, and I tried to squeeze into that hole, and honestly, I almost got through almost entirely cleanly. Just made contact with that left rear corner panel at the last second on the 10 of John Andretti. But we are back in the top 10, and a lot of those passes were for position that we made on those cars slowing up, and some of them that were not for position, they were on the lead lap. We got by to get back on the lead lap entirely. Now, in that slowdown for Kenny Wallace, it looks like Tony Stewart has taken the race lead. So Stewart is now back out in front. Pass on the 138 car for position, and now up to 7th for Clint Boyer. Oof. There, 3 wide up here. Just saw a dive bomb going down into the first turn. Probably a mix of cars on fresh tires and old tires. A lot of room to the bottom for Boyer. Well, there was. And this is where the slowdown happens. Ah, Jimmy John's. It's a good option, too. I haven't had that in forever. Honestly, I think the last time I had Jimmy John's was when I was in Phoenix. I remember going to a Jimmy John's when I was there. I actually left my sub in the refrigerator when I went to the airport on the way out of there. Last night I was there. I was like, I left half my sub in the fridge. Somebody got a free tuna sub. Doubt they ate it. They probably threw it away. I wouldn't want to eat it. Half a sub had 8 inches of a sub. 52 leaning on Boyer. Boyer up to 5th. Pass on Johnson for 4th. Mayfield may be a spot. Tough to tell for sure. That was a big overdrive of the corner. Yeah, Mayfield definitely a spot. Johnson going to get back by Boyer. His car is tightening up over the course of the long run. And I definitely think it's a setup. I mean, you figure we've gone further on this set of tires than we did the initial set of tires at the beginning of the race. Johnson into the pits. That's why I wasn't going to be too aggressive trying to pass him again. He was holding the bottom because he wanted to hit pit road. Up to 3rd for the moment. 12.4 seconds behind Stewart, who took the lead from Kenny Wallace before Wallace had pitted. If Wallace is pitted, he might still be out on the track. But he did outright take the lead. Really caught Wallace because of that slow up with a driver blowing a motor. I've seen 2 engine failures so far. Tony Stewart now onto pit road from the lead. Boyer gets by Mayfield from the outside lane. Curious to see how big of a lead Boyer's going to have when everything cycles through. He short pitted a long time ago. He's going to be giving that time back up again, though, once everything cycles out. Still shocked we have not seen a caution. Oh, wow. Well, could have had one right there. J.J. Yaley pulling right up in front of the 2. He was very slow getting up out of the pit lane. Primarily when he exited turn 2 and just pulled up right in front of that 2. There's a lot of damage to the left front fender here. I think we're going to have to pit real soon. Yaley's being tough to pass also. Yeah, I got to slow up for the 192 anyway. I don't want the debris caution to come out. We'll make our final stop. Just because it was getting tight on the longer runs, I'm not going to make any adjustment changes here. But we unlapped ourselves before the last cycle of pit stop, so I'd imagine we'll be able to finish on the lead lap still. I contemplated whether I was going to take tires or not, but we were going to have to go almost 200 laps on that set. I didn't trust that, knowing that the car was tightening up over the course of the long run. But it's really good on the short run. I mean, we ran our fastest laps of the race. Definitely had to pit to repair that left front fender damage. Really pulled out in front of us. Spinning the tires coming out of the pits down on the bottom of the track. Stewart just got by us. I wonder if we're a lap down again. Yeah, we are. Stewart back in the lead. And Boyer really needs to get by him. 3 wide. Made that pass look so clean. As it was clean. So in 7th place, Clint Boyer back on the lead lap. So outright having to come from a lap down to try to win this thing. We just never got the caution. And I definitely would have liked to have ridden that out a little further, but I was afraid for getting the debris yellow, and if I would have caused the incident with that debris caution, assuming we would have had one, then I wouldn't have been able to pit for fuel or tires anyway. And I think the price we would have been paying on that would have been a lot worse. Michael Turner, thanks for tuning in. Getting a new phone soon. I try not to get a new phone until I absolutely have to. I don't know what number it is, honestly. There's a couple different ones I usually get, but I haven't been to Jimmy John's enough to really know the number of the order. It's good, but I've only been there a handful of times, and it's been a minute. It's been a couple years. $100 laps to go, plenty of time left. We're in 6th. Jimmy Johnson would be for 5th up ahead in the 48 car. Position-wise, we're doing great. Now, Tony Stewart in the 33, being the leader. I wonder if he's going to have a chance of leading the most laps. Well, honestly, if he leads to the end, he should get the most laps led, considering we still have about 100 laps left, and he's already been leading for a little bit, just prior to the green flag stops. Jeremy Mayfield's a spot also, so both the 4th and 5th place cars are within about a second ahead of us. Although we are still 15.3 seconds off the race lead. Boyer underneath Johnson. Very aggressive there, leaned on him quite a bit. Boyer makes the pass on Johnson. Again, that is for 5th. I know we have a long ways to go yet by the lap counter, but knowing how short the laps are here, we're going to need some help to try to win this race. Again, I'd be shocked if this thing goes caution-free. We have had one caution-free Busch race this season, which I believe was at Richmond. So this would be the second one. Oh. A little sideways, getting up out of the corner before the contact with Mayfield. Couldn't get the clearance without it. Went up to 4th. Just less than 14 seconds off the lead. And that passes for 3rd. Got Fantasy Driver up there pretty far in the running order. I mean, it goes to show if we get a caution, we're right up there. I mean, we're in 3rd place. Kenny Wallace has definitely got to be in 2nd wherever he's at on the track. It's really, I mean, that gap between 2nd and 3rd is just massive because he's got to be somewhere somewhat close to Stewart. Caution, there it is. Our first yellow of the day. That's exactly what Clint Boyer needed. And there are very few cars on the lead lap after going over 150 laps caution-free to start. That was right in front of the leader. Stewart was able to evade the 126 of Tingen to the inside. Just got loose on his own. Hits the wall pretty hard. And that will warrant a caution. He didn't get completely sideways. Wall really caught him from spinning. There's not that many cars on the lead lap, but we're still going to stay out. Only would have lost about 3 or 4 positions there, but it's okay. Green flag back in the air. Now it's a fight for the bottom. And who can get there first? Down to the bottom without losing position, but 2 lap cars get by Bowyer. Tony Stewart's 3 wide middle. Now Kenny Wallace 3 wide middle. Bowyer under him. Little contact. Bowyer trying to get by Stewart for the lead. Sails it off into turn 3. A little contact with Stewart going right back up the racetrack. But clear. And Bowyer is out in front. Second different time that Clint has led. Gets by lapper Aaron Crocker and now just trying to hold the lead. And Kenny Wallace actually gets to second. As big of a lead as Stewart had, at least back to third place, over 12 seconds at the time of the caution. Unbelievable that he may be in a predicament again where he may not win with a fast car. And this is now the 16th race of the season. He's only 9 points out at first. Had the points lead for about a dozen races before last night's event at Dodge Raceway. Stewart going for second, though. He ain't done. And we still got about 78 to go this time by, so there's a lot of time. Stewart into second. He gets by Kenny Wallace. We know how fast his car is. We'll see if he can get right back up to Clint Bowyer again. And he may use the bumper if he gets a chance. I don't know that we have pull-away speed with this 2 car, if I'm being completely honest. And you can't make up your mind. Went from Domino's to Jimmy John's to McDonald's. I can't tell what you're in the mood for. Is it pizza, subs, or burgers? All over the map. Sounds like something my dad would do. Very indecisive when it comes to where to eat when he's going out to eat. He'll like spitball like 10 different things. And then when like everybody has their decision made up on like what we want and we're in a cohesive unit, be like, or we can get this. Like, no, we already know what we're getting. We got it. We got it. I mean, Tony Stewart probably had some Whoppers back in his day when Burger King was sponsoring him. He was probably endorsed there for a little bit. Got some free Whoppers. Got the Old Spice car in the Busch Series. 70 laps left. And another chapter in the Bowyer and Stewart rivalry this season in this race for the championship. As Bowyer tries to get win number 10 to Stewart's 0. At least all these wins is going to give us a tiebreaker advantage over him, considering he doesn't have a single win yet. But here he is putting the pressure on us to do so again, as he's done many times already this season. I wonder how many second place finishes he has. He's probably piling them up like Sheldon Creed. He might be a little better than us, honestly. I just got through the traffic better on the restart. Still got 2 of our field passes left in this race. I don't know when to use them. Kenny Wallace for second. And will look to try to get by Tony Stewart. He does. Clear on that front straightaway into turn one. Gonna be fat tonight. The few times I eat McDonald's, I usually go big too. Honestly, I usually probably go bigger than that. 2 double cheeseburgers, a medium fry. Give me that large iced coffee. I'm packing the calories. It's either that or a, if I don't get 2 double cheeseburgers, it's usually a double quarter pounder. And then the medium fry and a large iced coffee. Breakfast is either the steak, egg, and cheese bagel, which is my number one, or sausage, egg, McMuffin. Big Mac, $7. I have no clue what it costs around here. I don't really look at the menu. I kind of know what I'm getting before I pull up and get it. I know the price of my total food. I don't really look at anything else. The only other thing I see price-wise is the minimum wage is up to like $18 an hour at the McDonald's close to me. Which I probably talked about it on stream before, but I worked there when I was in high school. And I was making $8.10 an hour. Same state that it's $18 an hour now. Somewhat same vicinity. At least, you know, within about a half-hour driving time of the one I worked at. Kenny Wallace to the lead. Not sure it's going to last for very long, though. Boyer's going to get him back. There's a little contact when Kenny got underneath the 2. The 2 had to lift to keep it off the wall. Wallace was able to clear. Boyer gets back to the lead the next lap. And Stewart gets back into second as Wallace was hung out to dry there for a couple of corners. Stewart with an aggressive clearance into turn 2. 1248 per hour where you live? Yeah, it's insane how much it's gone up, like, around me. Like, I know inflation's bad, but I mean, they're literally making $10 more an hour than I did in high school. I know, like, I was in high school a while ago, but it wasn't that long ago. It was only like 8 to 10 years ago I worked there. Worked there when I was 16, 17 years old. And, you know, 8 to 9 years later, and they're making $10 more an hour than what I did. Well, I mentioned the laps go by pretty quickly here. 53 laps to go. And again, Boyer has found himself up in the lead. Just trying to hold on. It's going to be very interesting getting into this heavy lap traffic on how he's going to try to hold on to the lead. It's definitely get interesting. We'll take our first field pass. We'll swap to Jeff Burton in the 21 car first. Burton is a lap down in the 21st place position right now, so that's where he's currently running. He's about a half a track off of where Boyer's at currently on the track map. We're looking to get by Danny O'Quinn Jr. for 20th and does. Clean pass on him. Sailed it off into turn one. Luckily, it was clear. Now the swap to Harvick, who's just a couple positions behind him in 23rd. Oh, big hit there off turn one from Reed Sorensen. Like Sorensen changed his line right in the middle of the corner. Kind of the second half of that turn, he really cut down. Harvick was obviously already there. $10.45 an hour. What, for minimum wage? Oh, whoa! Tony Stewart! That was uncalled for. That was a big hit into the wall by Clint Boyer. Fell all the way to 4th from the lead. I feel like minimum wage is more than $10.45 an hour, because I thought my sister was making more minimum wage just a couple years ago when she was working in high school. I think me living like, I don't know if like Toledo city limits, it might be more there than like statewide. I don't know if that maybe has something to do with it. Obviously, $18 an hour ain't minimum wage, you know, with the people at McDonald's around me making now, but debris off the 2. I saw that right front fender, and that was from the damage when Tony Stewart knocked the 2 car hard into the wall as he was trying to make the pass for the lead. So Boyer now going to have to pit, repair that damage. There's only a handful of cars on the lead lap, so even though we're running in 3rd, we're only going to lose a couple of positions, so it's not bad. Might as well take... Well, I can't take tires while I'm down here because I technically caused the incident, so never mind. No adjustments. 7.4 seconds of damage. $7.25 North Carolina. I figure it's cheaper. I mean, everything's usually cheaper the couple times I've gone down there. A lot of the southern states, it's way cheaper than what it is around where I live. Yeah, Michigan's usually more expensive than here, too. I know I go up north. If I go into Michigan, even if it's like 20, 30 miles north of Toledo, gas is like 20 to 30 cents more. And you get up into Detroit, when I'm going there for sporting events, it's definitely more than it is in Toledo, too. On the brakes early for the restart there for Clint Boyer to get down to the bottom lane of the racetrack. Didn't want to get freight trained by a bunch of lap cars. Kenny Walls got to the front of the field very quickly on this restart. So now back in traffic is Boyer. And there's only 36 laps to go. So not a lot of time to fight through the field. Oh, that was a big moment. Turn 2. Car just kept going straight. Sure has nothing to do with the damage Tony Stewart gave to me. Sarcasm, obviously. Three wide up here. I don't know who that fantasy car is, but they're leading it. There's Stewart. Oh, that was a big hit into the wall. And Boyer hooks the 33, wrecks him. Oh, Jimmy Johnson on his nose and upside down. They just kept piling in. He got hit by Burton. And Harvick hit him. I don't know if he toppled all the way over. He did like a front flip. That was my payback on Tony Stewart, by the way. If you were wondering why I just hooked a left on him in the middle of the straightaway. I'm not setting myself to the rear for that. That was intentional. 29 to go. He wrecked me earlier. Teach him to body slam me again. I did not get down to the bottom of the racetrack very cleanly that time, though. Contact with Menard. Boyer trying to squeeze his way to the inside and finally does. All right, well, still in fifth. Pretty good restart for Tony Stewart. Looking for second place right now. I had quite a few lap cars get around me. All these lead lap cars collectively as a whole seem like they got through traffic pretty well. Oh, contact with a teammate. Boyer into Burton. All right, got through the lap traffic. One spot for position gain since the restart. 24 to go this time by. Stewart getting hung up. Oh, a little contact. Oh, I thought he was going to turn him. Did you see him cut his car down the track as aggressively as he did? All right, we got to take our second and final field pass now before we get too late into this thing. Burton not that far behind us. He's currently back at 12th. Burton looking for the pass. This is actually for position down into turn one. Both passes for position. Haven't had many of these, but Jeff Burton in the top 10 late, despite not being on the lead lap. All these cars in front of him, I believe, would be for not for position. Burton just ran his fastest lap of the day, and I think as we transfer to Harvick, Harvick's 3 wide on the outside. 4 wide on the outside at Meadow Creek. Heavily on the brakes as Harvick, as he's just trying to stay out of harm's way right now. Eye of the storm. Oh, 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 oh. Still green. We are still green. I didn't want to transfer to him. Gonna have to get it off the screen. He's trying to transfer back to Clint Boyer. And look at this. Boyer up to second. He was in fourth last we transferred with him. 16 laps to go. Here we are. Boyer trying to get back out in front again. Oh, boy. Contact there with Kenny Wallace. 14 laps to go. I don't think these leaders are going to catch any lap traffic if we stay green to the finish. A dive through turn 1. Boyer out the other end with the lead. Clear through turn 2. Wallace with the crossover in turn 3. Boyer leads that lap, but I don't think he's going to lead the next one. Kenny Wallace out in front again. But now Boyer with the crossover to the inside. What a battle between these two. Leapfrogging back and forth. Back-to-back laps with the lead change. Really, 3 laps in a row with a lead change. 2 took it from the 22. 22 got it back, and the second time passes him for the lead. And now with 11 laps to go, trying to settle in. Hold on and get the victory. With Tony Stewart at 4th place back there. Trying to get as many positions as he can here to the finish. Well, I said we weren't going to catch lap traffic to the end. More I look at those cars up in front of us, we're creeping in quite a bit. They're 3 wide up there. No wonder we're creeping in. And we just ran our fastest lap. 17.135. Combination of the two. They're really racing, and we're really making lap time. And that might still give Kenny Wallace a chance yet. 8 laps to go. Lap traffic has been brutal for pretty much everybody today. Not a great turn 1 for Boyer. Had to get out of the gas quite a bit there on corner exit. Just to try to keep it off the fence. Five laps left at the line. Guess I have to go for Cleveland in the ALCS. That ain't happening. Whoa, 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 whoa. We had a big stack up. Big stack up. Got by the first car cleanly of Clover, not the second one. They slowed up a ton. 3 laps to go. And here is that lap traffic right at the very finish. Boyer slides the tires to get by Kurt Busch through turn 3. 2 laps left, a 7/10 of a second lead. Trying to hold on to the finish. Boyer gets by the 117. 3 lap cars between the top 2 in the running order. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go for Clint Boyer. Buries the car off into turn 3. No problem on corner exit. Checkered flag for Clint Boyer as he is a winner at Meadow Creek. 10th win of the season. And very much a short track style race here today. We already beat this thing up enough today, so we're going to do a little Polish victory lap on our outro and our victory celebration. And the 10th win of the season. And another short track win for me personally on NASCAR 07. But this one definitely tough to come by. But the win obviously still intact. Tony Stewart, another top 5 as he finishes 4th. 57 laps led for Bowyer tonight from last to first. Kenny Wallace led the most laps, 101 laps led for him, finishing in 2nd. So he'll get the 10 bonus points. M. Irvin, fantasy driver, great run, finishing 3rd. Tony Stewart, 37 laps led in 4th. Jeremy Mayfield, no laps led, finishes 5th. 6th for Jimmy Johnson. Kate Clayton in 7, Jay Smith 8, J.J. Yaley 9, Jeff Burton rounds out the top 10, obviously one of our teammates. Only 9 cars finished on the lead lap. Our other teammate, Kevin Harvick, finished a lap down in 23rd. As far as DNFs here today, looks like we had 4 DNFs for engine failures, R. Montana, C. Lagans, E. Eskew, G. Clark. So a bunch of fantasy drivers who I don't know their first names to. 92.18 mile per hour average race speed. Our total race time today, 1 hour, 21 minutes, 21 seconds. 1.2 second margin of victory, 28 lead changes, 3 cautions in the Coyote Run 250. So there you have it. Congratulations to me and to Clint Bowyer getting our win here tonight. Very gradual growth in the fantasy league, in the point standings here tonight. I worked an overtime shift today, so probably tell I'm a little tired. AT&T 250 at the Milwaukee Mile will be our next Busch Series race. That will likely take place on Monday. So Monday at the Milwaukee Mile. Be an interesting one. Stewart up to Clint's window net. I mean, he wrecked me first. He wrecked me, so I wrecked him back. I'd say we're even. We do know Tony Stewart's a hothead, though, so it could still happen. Clint Bowyer's been in some fights before in NASCAR, too. That'd probably be a good duel, actually, Stewart and Bowyer. 2 guys that don't have a history with each other, but have history with other drivers. 29-point advantage for Bowyer as we get a 20-point increase. Again, very gradual. Again, another top 5 in laps led for Stewart. Kenny Wallace, who had a strong night, leading the most laps, finishing 2nd, is up to 3rd in points now, so good for him. Aaron Crocker, 4th. Jeremy Mayfield, that engine failure last night, Dodge Raceway, dropped him back a couple spots. Kevin Harvick up to 6th. He's on our first page of points now. And our other teammate, Jeff Burton, still back at 15th. And that will round out tonight's stream. So we'll be back at it again tomorrow. Be sure to tune in for that one. Live commentary for the next 2 days on the channel. We have a doubleheader at 4:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. We'll go live for practice and qualifying for the Cup Series, followed by the Xfinity Series race tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. A little night race at Vegas. And as far as the Cup Series goes, on Sunday afternoon with our full race live commentary coverage, we'll begin that at 2 p.m. Eastern with our pre-race. So hope to see you for all that. This is our last NASCAR 7 stream until Monday, and then we'll run that Milwaukee Mile race. Hope to see you for that and much more. As always, be sure to hit the like button.